Zollverein. Werner Fennick grows up 300 miles northeast of Paris in a place called Zollverein, a 4,000-acre coal mining complex outside Essen, Germany. It's steel country, anthracite county, a place full of holes. Smokestacks fume and locomotives trundle back and forth on elevated conduits, and leafless trees stand atop slag heaps like skeleton hands shoved up from the underworld. Werner and his younger sister Jutta are raised at Children's House, a clinker-brick two-story orphanage on Victoria Strasse, whose rooms are populated with the coughs of sick children and the crying of newborns and battered trunks, inside which drowse the last possessions of deceased parents. Patchwork dresses, tarnished wedding cutlery, faded ambrotypes of fathers swallowed by mines. Werner's earliest years are the leanest. Men brawl over jobs outside the Zollverein gates, and chicken eggs sell for 2 million Reichsmarks apiece, and rheumatic fever stalks Children's House like a wolf. There is no butter or meat. Fruit is a memory. Some evenings, during the worst months, all the house directress has to feed her dozen wards are cakes made from mustard powder and water. But 7-year-old Werner seems to float. He is undersized and his ears stick out, and he speaks with a high, sweet voice. The whiteness of his hair stops people in their tracks. Snowy, milky, chalky. A color that is the absence of color. Every morning he ties his shoes, packs newspaper inside his coat as insulation against the cold, and begins interrogating the world. He captures snowflakes, tadpoles, hibernating frogs. He coaxes bread from bakers with none to sell. He regularly appears in the kitchen with fresh milk for the babies. He makes things, too. Paper boxes, crude biplanes, toy boats with working rudders. Every couple of days he'll startle the directress with some unanswerable query. Why do we get hiccups, Frau Elena? Or, if the moon is so big, Frau Elena, how come it looks so little? Or, Frau Elena, does a bee know it's going to die if it stings somebody? Frau Elena is a Protestant nun from Alsace, who is more fond of children than of supervision. She sings French folk songs on a screechy falsetto, harbors a weakness for sherry, and regularly falls asleep standing up. Some nights she lets the children stay up late while she tells them stories in French about her girlhood, cozied up against mountains, snow 6 feet deep on rooftops, town criers and creeks smoking in the cold, and frost-dusted vineyards. A Christmas Carol world. Can deaf people hear their heartbeat, Frau Elena? Why doesn't glue stick to the inside of the bottle, Frau Elena? She'll laugh. She'll tussle Werner's hair. She'll whisper. They'll say you're too little, Werner, that you're from nowhere, that you shouldn't dream big. But I believe in you. I think you'll do something great. Then she'll send him up to the little cot he has claimed for himself in the attic, pressed up beneath the window of a dormer. Sometimes he and Jetta draw. His sister sneaks up to Werner's cot, and together they lie on their stomachs and pass a single pencil back and forth. Jetta, though she is 2 years younger, is the gifted one. She loves most of all to draw Paris, a city she has seen in exactly one photograph, on the back cover of one of Frau Elena's romance novels. Mansard roofs, hazy apartment blocks, the iron lattice of a distant tower. She draws twisting white skyscrapers, complicated bridges, flocks of figures beside a river. Other days, in the hours after lessons, Werner tows his little sister through the mine complex in a wagon he has assembled from cast-off parts. They rattle down the long gravel lanes, past pit cottages and trash barrel fires, past laid-off miners squatting all day on upturned crates, motionless as statues. One wheel regularly clunks off, and Werner crouches patiently beside it, threading back the bolts. All around them, figures of second-shift workers shuffle into warehouses. while first shift workers shuffle home, hunched, hungry, blue-nosed, their faces like black skulls beneath their helmets. "Hello," Werner will chirp. "Good afternoon." But the miners usually hobble past without replying, perhaps without even seeing him, their eyes on the muck, the economic collapse of Germany looming over them like the severe geometry of the mills. Werner and Jetta sift through glistening piles of black dust. They clamber up mountains of rusting machines. They tear berries out of brambles and dandelions out of fields. Sometimes they manage to find potato peels or carrot greens in trash bins. Other afternoons they collect paper to draw on, or old toothpaste tubes from which the last dregs can be squeezed out and dried into chalk. Once in a while, Werner tows Jetta as far as the entrance to Pit 9, the largest of the mines, wrapped in noise, lit like the pilot at the center of a gas furnace. A 5-story coal elevator crouched over it, cables swinging, hammers banging, men shouting, an entire map full of pleated and corrugated industry stretching into the distance on all sides. And they watch, the coal cars trundling up from the earth, and the miners spilling out of warehouses with their lunch pails towards the mouth of the elevator, like insects toward a lighted trap. "Down there," Werner whispers to his sister. "That's where Father died." And as night falls, Werner pulls little Jetta wordlessly back through the close-set neighborhoods of Zollverein, 2 snowy-haired children, and a bottomland of soot, bearing their paltry treasures to Victoriastrasse 3, where Frau Lena stares into the coal stove, singing a French lullaby in a tired voice, one toddler yanking her apron strings while another howls in her arms.